corrected, then our hope to eventually get back to that original 40,000. So one thing I kind of wanted to point out on this sheet is some of the three little things in red in the middle box there. That's really the one that involves what you guys do and the main focus of what we do. So the first little star there, the 3375, there was very few projects this year because we were coming off of last year where we finished the second half of the paving of the road in Scannick Cemetery, or not Scannick Cemetery. No, Windsor, Springdale, Scannick. No, Cemetery Road, yeah.
It's nice too.
So that was a 2-year project, and I actually brought last year's, so that line item was actually $25,000 last year, so we were in the red 16,000. So this year we basically held off, and we did show a cash flow profit per se, but unfortunately with what we do, there aren't small projects. There's very few small projects. Most of it is $15,000, $20,000 projects to repair roads. So I don't want anyone to see that number and say, oh look, they have all this money now. So I just kind of wanted to call that out in advance. So what we were hoping to do last year, or possibly this year, is to address the fence on Route 5 at Old Town Cemetery, which currently is a snow fence, which was put up because there was some vandalism issues with the really old stones there, and those are some of the oldest stones in town. Unfortunately, the cost to get a metal fence is in excess of $25,000, so that wasn't really in the budget for last year. Depending where we end up this year, it's something that we may consider, or we may have to hold off another year. The biggest concern is that while we're waiting to do the fence, we can't do any repairs to any of the roads in Windsorville or Melrose, which are the ones that are in the worst shape. Springdale's pretty decent. We've looked at options such as sealing the cracks and things like that to get more life out of them, but we just simply don't have to do that if we're trying to hold off to do one large project like this fence. So to the extent that we can move in a positive direction, it would be great. But I know that you guys have a big task ahead of you, and I don't want to go backwards after so many years being funded at such a low level. So if we could maintain that number, great. If we could, eventually get it moving in the right direction, that would be great too. So, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Obviously, we can have a conversation about it. So.
Any questions?
So the top part of this is your normal operating budget, so you basically, the burial expenses and all that stuff is basically covered by that piece. So basically where the town's helping you is I think we're talking about maintenance improvements and whatnot.
Right.
So
I know some of you are familiar with this sheet. I originally did it a few years ago because there was a lot of questions about what exactly we do. So I'm hoping now that we've answered those for a few years, maybe I can simplify it a little bit. But all of the basic burials, we've increased our fees the last few, not last year, but the prior 2 years, because some of the burials, there's regular burial, there's a cremation burial. If it's on a Saturday, we have to pay overtime to dig the grave, those sort of things. So some of those were out of balance, and we've gotten to the point now where we're one of the highest ones of the surrounding towns. So we don't want to have to go up anymore. So we really can't find any more money there. And expense-wise, everyth's been cut down to bare bones. I mean, we used to have electricity to our, we used to have electricity to our shed. We discontinued that. We used to have heat there. We took out the propane tank. Essentially, any money that you give us goes directly into an improvement, because most of it is done through subcontractors. So.
Anybody else? Questions, input right now? Before we don't have them here? All good?
Good.
All right, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Veterans Commission. Hello again. Until she gets down to see what
Right at my
I'm done. I've done it. I saw you and I'm like, I'm up here, so everybody takes it. All right.
Want us to talk first?
Yeah, you talk first.
Okay, well, we'll take the secretary and then we'll talk about the facts.
Yeah, recording secretary, it's been my understanding, I don't know if it's true or not, that there's a range of recording secretaries from like $80 to $125 a week, something like that. And I don't know what the criteria are for determining that. Last year, we put in for $100 a month, and we're reduced to 80. And this year, we're putting into $100 a month again. We have a meeting, a monthly meeting that obviously requires everything that every other commission's monthly meeting does in terms of posting minutes, posting agendas, doing the minutes, and then recording the minutes and so forth. So that's the primary responsibility. This person also does some other stuff. With our events, we have some correspondence that we have to do, and sometimes some research, whether it's on purchasing or so forth and so on. For example, Memorial Day coming up, we'll be sending out invitations to marching units, and have to communicate with the police department about closing roads and so forth. We just got done with an application for a flyover, which is a little bit complicated. It's an online application. 3 federal agencies are involved in it, so the recording secretary helps with that too. So I guess I think that the 100 per month is warranted.
If I can add to that too, well, with the improvements we made down at Warehouse Point require extra meetings. And whenever we have a special meeting, secretary, we won't be having as many, obviously now that it's complete, but there are other times that we have to have a special meeting and can't have a secretary. And I'll just move right on to $1,200. Basically, it says Memorial Day fund, Memorial Day fund. Basically, that's covers the cost, helps cover the cost of the flags that we put up on the Main Street. They only last a year at best. Poles get broken, etc. But the bulk of the money is for the cemetery flags that we put at all the veterans' grave sites. Unfortunately, that increases every year as the World War II vets start to leave us. I have shopped around for prices. They're all within a buck of each other. I go up to Windsor Air Force Base and pick them up so that we avoid delivery charges and all. So, basically it's a fixed expense, and everything is done by volunteers, replacing them, picking them up, and etc.
There's about 1,000 of those in the cemetery.
The cemetery flags.
They're $1 105 gross for the 12 by 18s. And we get 8 gross.
Any questions? Comments? All good? Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll leave these with each of you if I
Thank
could.
you. Registrar? I don't think we have anybody, right? Nope, okay, so we'll still go over it tonight, but, Rockford Fire Department?
That's 511.
Hello. Whatsoever. Hello, how are you? Fix these ones. Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
By two. Oh, you just have,
I'm still waiting, they're working on it. Oh dear.
okay.
Do you have extras?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh, it's the very last page in tab 3.
Thank you.
The logic of that?
No, I won't.
I don't know.
5 and 3. Great.
Okay, the first thing I'd like to do is clarify a statement made by Maria Sousa, that the Wells Point Fire District mirrored the cost of our budget to be fair to the taxpayers. And the Wells Point Fire District will also still tax for their needed,
Make up the balance.
make of the balance. It was said that.
Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Nope, fully understand.
That's where the number came out. It wasn't convoluted or, made up number. They were just marrying our budget to make up the difference by tax.
To make it even.
The top item on the list was part-time salary. What I gave you people was the last year's run totals from 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. This is where the third member is needed for daytime, because if you look at the percentages, most of our calls are done from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that's what, this is for the entire year, last year. So during the day, if I have 2 guys on, that's all there's in town, is 2 guys. There's no volunteers in town, especially in the summertime, everybody's back to work. At night, I have a pool of 30 volunteers. So during the last page of the sheet, there was 4 structure fires out, confirmed structure fires. 3 out of the 4 were during the day,
Those hours.
those hours,
We had one today, actually, at 3:30.
over Wells Point.
We were fortunate enough to have a third guy on today because of the way the budget's been going when we schedule. I'm not sure if you're aware, but the majority of our part-timers are career firefighters from around the area. If they get an overtime shift that's paying them $40 an hour, you can't expect them to say, I'm gonna turn that up to come work for $16 or $17 an hour. So there's shifts that have been gone, filled with only one person, so we're trying to, prove that we do need this guy. And today it worked out perfect. I mean, the fire was small in nature. It was in a mechanical room, but by both departments having 6 guys there right off the bat, in a timely fashion, it makes a huge difference. If this fire was in a residential home with somebody trapped, 6 guys still aren't going to be enough right off the bat, but it's going to make it a lot better. So we really feel that it's it's $32,000. I know you're trying to cut the budget as much as you can. I know you're trying to be fiscally responsible, but this, for lack of better terms, it's an insurance policy for our citizens.
last year, you requested 2 last year, we cut it to 1 last year.
Yeah.
My goal was to put it in this year, so
And that's what we thought, what was gonna happen, we were gonna slowly progress to where we, want to get. Like I said, we understand that, cuts have gotta be made, but we really hope that you guys think long and hard about this and add that back in.
that's one of the things I felt strongly about going into this session. I remember back from last year that I do want to make sure we get that back in here recently.
I can add a little bit to what Jerry says. Just because I have 3 guys, doesn't mean I'm gonna have 3 guys, like Jerry says. I says 2 of those guys could get held over at work, I can have 1 guy. At least if I have 3, I have a good chance of having 2 out of the 3.
It's not a perfect system, and, it's kind of a per diem situation. Somebody gets sick, somebody gets overtime, family problem, they can just call and say, hey, I can't make it. And then we have to try and scrounge around to the other part-timers that are available, see if anybody else can fill it. But if they can't fill it, unfortunately, we are short-handed.
Just a question, the weekend ones, you haven't had any, that's because you do that with your regular.
That's all volunteers.
That's all volunteers. So, and you have more than, you probably have like 6 people on your list, but you're looking to have 3 a day. You're gonna have.
We've actually got a pool of 11 people,
Okay,
believe it or
all right.
not,
So
that
you're
that put in. But it's crazy the way, sometimes when the people put in for their shifts, once you select who's working when, then they have lives. They make plans, they do this with family or that or whatever they're doing, and they're not always available just because they initially signed up for that day to fill the shift. So it's been very challenging to try and make this work.
We lost 2 last year because of they got activated, they got sent over to the desert for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I lost 2 of them for that. They're all back now.
Safety song. Besides that, we appreciate everything else you did for the budget, or the Board of Finance did, Selectmen. So, do you have any questions for us?
The only other big item you have on there is the fire physicals, and I see on here it says under foot and bed pass.
Yes.
Right. That was an issue that came when Broadbrook and Wells Point split. There was a $20,000 line item in there for physicals for both departments. We had a little bit bigger department, so we were using more of the money. The treasurer put in told us $6,000, actually told us $4,000 would be enough. We bumped up to $6,000, and hasn't been enough.
Yeah, it still hasn't been enough.
And what we do is the career firemen, you have to have a physical for an FPA for your department. We use their physicals from their department to save us money.
The initial employment physical we do, but every annual physical after that, because whether it's career or a lot of them are also volunteers in other departments around town, Ellington, South Windsor or such, they do physical as well. So we'll accept their physical after their initial employment physical. So that helps save on that end.
Any questions? Any comments? All right.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good Easter.
Thank you, you too. Building?
111-300, it's in tab 2.
Go straight in.
That's a lot.
Thank you so much. Close. No. Like this much from tab 3.
Is it in tab 3?
No, it's in tab 2, about this much though from tab 6, towards the end. Towards the end.
411-300.
Yeah, it's towards the end. Okay. Oh no, that takes up a huge chunk.
Yeah, so I think that's
No, are you not? Are you not? It's huge.
yeah, that's the problem.
after those dark copies. Right after those, you got it, right there. Good to go. Everybody got it? Yes, I have it. Hey. All right, we're good to go. I know, I thought that. All right.
Second page is probably the page you guys can focus on. I know this comes at you somewhat rapid fire. Good to keep.
Thank you. All right. So this is your revenues, right? Your projected.
Well, these are revenues, permits to date, and then projected build-outs for the coming fiscal year and well, the rest of this year and the next fiscal year. To give you an indication, right now, we've just met with the developer from Harvest View. He's already pre-sold 9 and have another 3 ready to sign the contract. So out of 22 single-family residences out of Harvest View, he has, as I said, pre-sold 9. He has another 3 units, so 12. More than half of that project's already sold. They don't have the road in. They're putting in utilities right now. Newberry Village is averaging about 2 a month right now. West River Farms has the primary model done. 2 are under construction and more permits forthcoming at any moment in time. Another developer's taken on Acorn Drive to finish up those 6 family units up here on Depot Street. Winkler Road, an incredible amount of interest in that 20-unit condo, which is basically, it's a single-family condominium project in an apartment-style building. So it's my understanding there'll be 2 structures with 10 units each. And then Calamar, which you see, is they've broken ground on it right now. That's 122 units, 3-story wood frame structure. Crossroads Cathedral is currently, the interior has been completely gutted, and they're starting to build out on the interior of that. That particular parcel of land has already been approved for a 4-story hotel as well. And then, of course, I don't have anything yet on the possible gaming facility or the 5-story hotel north on Prospect Hill Road. I will tell you, based on the meetings that I've had, that I've been given every indication that the gaming facility is coming. And the owner and developer of the 5-story hotel has told me the day that the permit for the gaming facility comes in, give him a call and he'll be in with the permit for the 5-story hotel. So in short, I need help.
Just a question. If we have all these projects come now, and we hire full-time people, and 5 years down the road, we don't have the need. I mean, is there a way that we can contract some?
There's no intention to hire any full-time people.
Okay, so what's,
No.
okay,
The intention is to hire either duration of project employees, okay, or all part-time,
okay.
meaning individuals that are not afforded benefits.
Okay. So when you say, what was the first one you said? Durational?
Duration of, we call them DOPEs, D-O-P-E-S.
Is that like contractors?
They are the duration of project employees, pretty much, yeah. They're hired on an hourly basis, strictly for the duration of the project.
Part-time property maintenance code officer, which, did they take that?
Yes, they did,
Okay.
which is a totally separate issue from,
Right. But those are your 3 that you were adding,
That is-
part-time
that is
licensed
correct.
building inspectors and a part-time property maintenance. and they left one part-time.
They basically left 27,352 over the part-timer that I have in the
Oh,
office
okay.
right
Yeah.
now. Okay, which basically what that amounts to is at 19 hours a week for a part-time inspector. That's 2 inspectors. That's for 24 weeks. 24 weeks doesn't carry me through these projects.
Right, or it would be, yeah, okay.
And that's anticipated at $30 an hour, which is, I'm going to try to get it a little bit less than the going rate, if this, and this is contingent upon if I can find qualified, licensed inspectors. There is somewhat of a shortage at this moment in time. One of the needs that I've outlined is truly the need to revamp our office for security and for efficiency. What worked, or what has worked for the past 15 years isn't working as well now. We've seen a change in people's attitudes. We've seen a change in a lot of things, and what we'd like to do is limit public access into and around that office area.
Do you have a plan in mind for?
Yes.
That's great.
We do. We have a couple of different layouts. I have the prices on all of that, the bids, or the proposals at this point in time, Sarah, for that, for the office layout, the furniture, and the prospectus. I believe we may have it right.
I think it's in our book.
Okay.
It's
Right there, I think
Planning.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the,
Okay.
not the building chart.
Got it, okay, yep.
We haven't chosen our final yet because we don't spend what we don't have.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask a question, I don't know if it's, I guess it's appropriate, because we're talking about things. The increase in, I'm gonna call it commercial development, hotels, casino, and all that stuff. That's, my opinion, that's where the $3 million coming from the casinos come from, so. I mean, I understand you may have to hire these people before this all starts and all that stuff, and I understand that money's supposed to come 18 months before, or
15 months.
15 months before. And, I mean, I understand you may need some help for the residential stuff too, but the commercial part of this, in my opinion, should come from the casino dollars, not from the town budget,
The 3 million.
the 3 million.
Well, maybe to help clarify that perspective, Bill, 120,000 of the current revenues have come in from Calamar. In fact, it was over $120,000 that we've taken in from that 122 unit, 55 and older apartment complex that is broken ground for on North Road. So that revenue's already been collected and it's in our coffers as we speak.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not saying that you,
Oh, no, I understand.
yeah, because I mean, you're looking for, the way I look this at for, maybe I'm not reading this, for 1 or 2, whatever it is. I mean, is
Yes.
one primarily you looking for basically to help with, obviously the casino project is a major project that needs,
Well, maybe this would help the perspective of the board tonight as well. The building permit application fee for the casino, if it comes in at $200 million, will be $3,010 that is due the day they drop plans on the desk in the building department's office. So that's irrespective, that's completely outside of any developer's agreement, any $3 million mitigation money, anything. That is pure revenue dedicated strictly to a building permit application fee. And that's for a $200 million project. If it's $250 or a $300 million project, of course, that fee will be increased.
I mean, the only reason I'm thinking that way, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to say you don't need help with some of these projects that are potentially coming down the road, is we know the past I don't know how many years we've been stuck with around a 2% budget.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, is there a possibility that some of this can be covered out of that casino mitigation? But that's, in my opinion, that's why that money's coming, is to help us set up for this. And once we get the money, the tax dollars rolling and all these permits rolling, I have no problem putting, with it at that point, but right now, I have a hard time trying to fit it in here with everything else we're trying to do, and I'm just thinking ways to make things happen.
Well, and I have to say this completely in our defense, and that is that, much like a ship, I can't snap my fingers and have help here tomorrow.
Oh,
And so it is all about the planning and the time frames.
Yep.
And typically, from the point in time that advertisement goes out until the point in time a suitable candidate is found, at least for my department, it's a minimum of 60 days.
Question for you, Rand.
Yes.
Just because you said you're not asking for any full-time, but if I look at what you put in, it says full-time employees right now, 2, FY19 request 3, part-time employees 1, FY19 request 3.
Are you looking at the revised selectmen's budget? That's what I've got in my
Just the one
hand.
that, well, we start
Oh,
from,
okay.
yeah, we take their suggestions, doesn't mean that we buy them. No, we start from the
Okay,
beginning.
because I'm looking at this, and it's been pared down dramatically.
Yep. But I guess.
So you tell me which one you'd like me to look at.
You know what, how about we do this? You have 2 full-time people and 1 part-time right now.
Yes.
Okay, so do me a quick job description of the 2 full-time and the 1 part-time.
I'm one full-time.
Yep,
Jimmy Powers is basically my office manager.
okay,
She's the other full-time, and strictly dealing with permits and money, reports, everything in her office. The part-timer that comes in, not more than 19 hours a week, is at the front counter. Okay, that deals with basically permitting, data entry in terms of permit, my permits, my inspections get entered in, handling phone calls, handling the day-to-day stuff that allows Ginny to take care of the other things that need to be taken care of in the office.
so he's really all inter-office too?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. I am the only licensed inspector right now in town office. Ideally, with what we're faced with, if you look at that budget, it would be ideal, and I know we don't live in an ideal world, Joe, but it'd be ideal to have that part-time position in my office become a full-time position. And that would be a permanent full-time position. It does warrant it. And then at the very least, it would be ideal, regardless of anything else going on in our lives, to have a part-time inspector to fill in when I'm not here, when I'm in school, when I'm on vacation. And I put in for that for the past 15 years, and it always gets picked up. So we don't even have coverage if I get sick, or if I'm on vacation, or if I'm at school, which is, obviously, my schooling is mandatory as well. And that's 90 hours every 3 years.
Yeah. Anybody else? Questions?
The increase in the supplies, is that driven by how many employees you were looking to hire? Or is that not dependent on?
What's your number, Cindy?
It's a 6,700.
6,700 was put in order to, that was in anticipation of 2 other inspectors. We are going to go through another code change. Complete set of books for my office is around between $1,200 and $1,300, and I'd need a minimum of 2 sets of books coming up this year, which would be an additional $2,600 from the ICC at a bare minimum. And if I take the 26, I probably have that listed out here somewhere exactly, so give me just a moment.
Anticipated new state building code, 2 sets, 1,200, safety equipment, protective gear, jackets, the things that we need to go on to these commercial sites for not just myself, but other inspectors as well. Up until now, I've covered the cost of my own gear and my own equipment because the town's never funded it. So I've covered my own hard hats, my own boots, my own clothing, my own flashlights. Everything I need to go out and do a job safely, I paid for that out of pocket. You'll see that underneath there, it's 2 Surface Pro notebooks, and that would, with the right software from the permitting company that we have, allow my inspectors out in the field and myself to do all of our entry. And because we're a cloud-based program now, it goes, everything would go to the cloud, and it could eliminate some of the redundant data entry that we deal with right now.
Anything else? All good for now? All right, great.
Yeah, it's 7:30.
Thank you.
And look, if anybody has any questions at any time, follow emails. It's easy. The answers are easy.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works.
Start with 610-100, which is in tab 4.
Which one are you doing, please?
Public Works, 610100, tab 4. Very in front of tab 4, so you're fine.
I don't have tabs. I do.
Tabs for you.
No tabs for me. I hit the bottom.
You do what?
I hit the bottom.
No.
My own tabs. Could you please let tabs? You know what?
They're doing really, really good.
Could I just bring up a point is with, and I know a lot of changes are happening in town and employees are being added. There's other factors involved other than employment. Like, I would say, for instance, if we hire a couple of building inspectors, they're going to need transportation, they're going to need cell phones, they're gonna need, you know, just a point. I mean, for any, I mean, I'm just not singling out the building inspector, I'm just
For any
saying.
new hire.
It seems
I
that
put the Public Works contract on.
the IT end of it is they get Outlook, so they all need emails. It's $210 an employee per year. So, you know, there's a lot of things that somehow trickle down to that. Anyways, you good now? I needed to say it. And I would never remember by the time public participation rolls around. I might be asleep in the back of the room.
So just to clarify on this, the Board of Selectmen approved, we actually had the new contract. So that reflects 2 years worth of price increases. We had retro for 2 years.
Well,
So
that would
it's
explain the 4.65%.
2% on top of 2%.
That's what kind of,
Yes.
that's what kind of threw me.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
like,
I can tell you looking at it, and I'm like,
Yeah, 2 years.
that's why, because we have 2-year increase this year and a 2-year increase next, or 2% increase next year. So,
Okay, so is everything else in the same?
Probably not.
yes, everything else.
Yeah.
Just numbers.
There's- Except for your increases, I mean, let's get serious, everything's flatline.
That's what we tried to do.
Yeah, well, right, I did flatline everything because I knew there were increases coming. So as far as the Public Works budget goes, I don't know what the total is, but what's it, 4% still?
It's all attached.
But it's 2 years of salary too, because unions can't seem to do anything in a timely fashion. Yeah, I said that out loud on camera, I guess.
It's not like it's a lie.
I mean, the first meeting I went to, we set a bunch of dates, and then a week later, they were all in good. And then it delayed until November.
Oh, that's right, you were.
I was, and then every other day,
Yeah.
they changed, you know, they kept changing dates, and all of a sudden, it didn't happen. It's ridiculous.
So that's the only, we're not asking for more people, not asking for more anything, we're just, whatever we need for the salaries, for the, that's that.
Next. No problem.
That's nice. Okay. That's a bit of a problem.
Town property got increased.
We got, I don't know what I did with the letter, but
I
I
think I
got-
passed out the letter to you.
Yeah, the last one.
I got two separate letters. The first increase I got wasn't as bad as the second one.
I think they got the new letter.
I'm in the wrong business. I can
Yeah,
tell you
yeah,
that.
hyper. Yep, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get the first one that explained the increase.
Right, that one should be in here, I think.
I didn't look, so
Well,
it's
I guess
probably.
another point of clarification, it says we build new developments, hydrants go in. The new one out on Middle Road is going to require 3, which would be about a $10,000 raise in that line.
I mean, we don't have any,
Say, really,
we, they dictate to us, they don't negotiate.
So this $31,000.
$31,000.
That's the new updated final number,
Mhm.
not including Middle Road, no.
No.
Okay, so that's next.
Can I get that first letter that explains that?
The other increase is, there's $2,100 increase in the custodian, our subcontractor that cleans.
Yeah. That one,
And then-
I gave you.
So say that again about the,
Well, if we start at the top and go down,
Oh,
there's
Say about this?
there's the gas line, we increased approximately $2,200, just because of the trend of what's being used.
Think every day?
Phones.
So janitorial service fee.
No, the janitorial
Janitorial
service
service
stays the same.
I'm sorry, I'm
You went
reading
to the
out
wrong
reading
line,
lines,
that's
right.
why. The phone we increased by about 1,000, just based upon the practices that we're seeing. We're pretty well.
That's
the,
for
uh,
everyone.
It's the whole
That-
town,
that's
it's
the whole
townwide,
town,
police,
that's the whole town.
us, everyone.
And the police have a little different system, so they actually still have to pay for long distance calls, which is why you get a little bit of an input. You know, we're all way over here, and we're all, everything's toll free, but. The electricity building, same thing, we had to go up a little bit based upon, the contracts that we've just, this may come down a little bit, hopefully. We just got into some new contracts, they just started.
Plus, we've got a lot of retro.
We got a lot of LED that we've done townwide, and so I'm hoping to see that, I'm hoping those two increases aren't as bad as they look. Not that they're terrible, but, WPC, huh?
those new lights are awful.
Yeah. The WPCA sewer fee is, that, again, that's based, I don't know if they've got their budget or not yet, if they've had their hearings and stuff, but that $485 is based upon what they what they were gonna ask for an increase. So that could go down a little bit, if they don't get the full nut that they were asking for.
Their fees.
And then the HVAC, fuel is just, you know,
So the only killer in that whole thing is the water hydrants.
well, that's, I mean, you don't have any,
Nothing to control
that
that.
kills us bad.
Other than that, that was pretty much.
Yeah. It's not like you can even take out hydrants like streetlights,
No.
kind of stuck with them. And we don't even have any say as to where they go. And like in new developments, the fire marshal says he wants hydrants here and there and whatever. But think of this number. If you start taking over other things.
It's about $3,000 a hydrant, roughly.
I think
Just saying, this guy.
Not on my watch.
Exactly.
Just making a statement. Sort of.
Any comments, questions?
Are we doing road improvements now?
Yep.
Or did we do that?
Yippee, yippee. And IT.
Road improvements, I'm not asking for any increase.
What's behind that 300? What's the plan?
Road maintenance. Well, you can say I have a few things. I've been rethinking some of this pulverizing and paving up above. I'm thinking about, instead of pulverizing the entire road, I'm working on getting prices to, I don't know if you remember, about 8 years ago in the industrial park where I did hot in place recycling. They come in with a train and they heat the pavement, they peel up the blacktop that's there, they run it through a pug mill, add more emulsion, and then they put it down behind them. And then you have, so they come through and they basically pick up the whole layer of pavement, rejuvenate it, put it back down, reshape it with the crown and the whole thing, and then you have to put a top on it. My rough estimate for Wells Road that I looked at based upon the numbers they gave me preliminary, that 473,000 would become like 300,000. So I can knock 173,000 off of the price and that's with adding a rubberized chip seal instead of a standard chip seal or paving on top of it. I haven't got my paving prices yet, but you know, either got to put an inch of pavement on it or a chip seal or a slurry or something. You got to put a color on it if you're done. So that's where we are, and that's, you know, the numbers that are here are some of the road projects. We have a little bit of money left over, and we also have money in CIP. So I don't really know what I can do until there's a real budget, and I see what I get between the CIP money, this money, and the money that I have in CNR. But
I can tell you a little section that needs.
those are some plans.
Yes.
I can tell you a little section of road that needs fixed pretty good.
Where would you like?
Right in front of my house, I keep taking your chunks of pavement and dumping them over the bank to fill in the hole.
Wait a minute, is that wetlands?
No.
Oh!
No, it's not wetlands.
That does need attention.
Yes, it does.
Yes. Windsor Road needs a lot of attention, actually.
So maybe you won't be able to spend all that money, we could save a little money in there.
Okay, Bill, keep dumping the shit around the other side.
Just saying.
Wow.
This coming from someone who's called us that, don't like.
I didn't think it needed
All right, IT.
IT.
What you need, section?
910400.
91040, which is in tab F.
Gotta be honest with you, when I took this job, being in charge of IT was probably one of the farthest things from my mind.
Which one of you guys is the IT guy?
Yeah.
You practice that.
Yeah, well,
I really don't either of you, right? I just inherited it.
That's what happens at Public Works.
we do everything and no one else does. And we smile.
I just
It
smile.
says information technology.
But honestly, since we've taken it over, we're very cognizant of billings. We've knocked down the consultant rates quite a bit. I mean, in the past, it was just, there's a problem, call a consultant, they come out, charge us 3-4 hours. They were out here numerous times a week. At this point, we bring them in once a week if needed. There's many weeks we don't even call them in. Joe can accomplish some of the things that we used to call them in to do. So,
And software licensing is everybody's various
That's
software
online,
that's. I know we bought like some rack servers a number of years ago. Are we still working off that system?
this, we had a brand, was it 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, we
updated the whole
completely updated the whole system, brand
So
new
we're
servers.
basically
2 sets.
cloud now. We have virtual servers here. We download every night,
Yep.
backed up every night. So
There's
it's
like
taken a lot of the old server was going down every other week.
No, they replaced it
Yeah.
with,
That's the system we're still in.
okay, it's all, it's just.
It's a couple-year-old
All that
system.
equipment is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
new, really,
Yeah.
anymore.
No, and it's a redundant, I mean, they get the same thing at the PD that we have here, so.
Quick question. In our description, it says, equipment, FY '18 adopted 10,000, FY '19 request 10,000, no change. But on this
I
spreadsheet,
think it was 5,000.
We asked for 10,000 last
They
year.
dropped it to
You
5.
dropped it to
okay, so
5.
this should be, adopted should be 5 though,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be
Right.
this.
Yeah.
It's right on your spreadsheet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like my spreadsheet to match
And that's the periodic.
That's the- well,
is-
Realistically now, 2 years ago, we purchased 3-year-old computers. We bought 75 of them, and we spread them out townwide, and then the police department. And right now, currently, they're 5 years old. We're also operating, we have about 35 computers that are over 10 years old.
I remember, I
Yeah,
heard it
so-
on the Board of Selectmen thing,
Right.
I just was making
So
sure that.
my theory is
You have to
to
start
start
replacing them.
replacing them. You know, I mean, we
So
can,
not do all
we can
at
take the
once.
5-year-old ones and replace them with the 10-year-old ones and, you know, I mean,
The 10-year-olds replacing with the 5-year-old ones.
he's the IT guy.
Let's not
Yeah.
replace the new ones with the older ones, let's replace the older ones with the, I'm just.
So, and catastrophically, you know, we've had 5 or 6 of these already go down with hard drives. We've got a couple more that are starting to act up, and we are out of our warranty with them by now. And it's just good practice. It's like we did a few years ago with vehicles. You know, everything, you know, nothing lasts forever. And then when we start breaking, then it costs a lot. If we rotate and move stuff around where, you know, counter computers for like in the assessor's office and stuff, they don't have to be brand new, but, you know, your department heads and your admins, they all should, you know, when they're start to get problems, start rolling them in. That's all.
Doesn't last forever, just with an oil change.
But that's, you know, I mean, that cost also includes any printers that go bad throughout the year, or any switches. We're running voice over IP VoIP phones. They all take PoE switches, you know. So those go bad. We've replaced a couple of those. Monitors.
We need-
Monitors like on the wall.
Nice one. It's big,
Can you see it?
I can see it.
It's
Not quite.
not ridiculous like what we had.
Yeah.
Lights out, please, so we can see the monitor.
All right, any questions?
And all the purchase services and software and licensing, that's all contractual, that has to increase, there's no savings there, no, correct?
There's a few that we've trimmed down. There's a few that's gone up. We're working on it. This is only our second year with this budget. So we're working on trying to consolidate. We're doing some different stuff with this charity tracker with Melissa and Sportsmen. We've just signed a new contract with something that's going to reduce as far as our point and pay and all that. So we're working hard at trying to, but what kills us is the outlook. You know, I mean, and like I say,
That's crazy.
well, it's a lot, but it also includes all the updates, our Word, our Excel, our PowerPoint, it's all there. So it's not, you know, we don't have to worry about it, it constantly updates. It's all cloud-based, they can log on from home if they need to get their emails if they're not here. So it's definitely better than what we had.
Anything? All right, our favorite one, sanitation.
Is it your favorite?
It's not.
Take it.
It's still hot.
Okay, basically, you know, the one, by contract, it's going up 1.5%. The only thing that's not by contract is the 15,000, we'd like to have a hazardous waste collection. Haven't had one for a few years. Bless you. People do call regularly. I mean, we can take care of most of it with you can recycle paint now at the Sherman-Williams stores, and the latex paint is, you can just dry it up and throw it in your trash. But, you know, people have oils, you get a lot of I'm cleaning out my dad's house, I got cans of stuff, I don't even know what it is, what do I do with it? It's like, hey, you better call ESI because we aren't taking it. So we do get a number of calls, people looking to get rid of their hazardous waste. People still have old thermometers. I mean, it's crazy what people have. So we'd like to have a collection. But, you know, I know that's...
Yeah, we asked a few years ago, my first year, I think we talked about something, and then we didn't do it last year, right? We did it 2 years ago, did we not?
3 years
It's
ago.
3 years ago
3 years
now.
ago.
I think I don't even have it for 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. And that's the cost of doing it through environmental services, whatever, 15,000
Yeah.
for one time.
Well, basically, we tell them that's all we have.
That's all we have.
Yeah, we're very good negotiators. And that's all. We try.
Do you want to talk about building commission? I think we talked about adding.
Oh, yes.
The what?
Oh dear.
Building commission,
Thank you.
just recording secretary?
Yeah, it's just it's level funding now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, I would like to bring something to your attention.
Committee, commission, whatever.
No, we didn't talk about this first.
I know
We need to go in the back room.
Is it a committee or a commission?
We're a permanent commission. That's what they're called.
Really should say commission.
Building,
Commission.
Remember, that's a whole big hula.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We are in the middle of a project that's funded for the middle school, the boiler replacement. I worked on our bid document this morning, and there's a mechanical engineer designing it, but I worked on the documents. In any event, Deep Department of Environment and Energy was out last week, I think, Friday. The oil tank there needs to be removed next year.
You had a mix up on the
They
dates.
they had thought that they had to like 2022 or something. Well, Deep mentioned, oh no, it's next year. So,
Is it an original tank from 66?
yes.
No,
And
No,
where is
no,
this
it's
again?
89.
89?
89.
the middle school.
So that would be at the middle school. So Roger, the facilities guy over there, he just quickly before, we had a building commission meeting Monday night, so he Monday called the guy that removed the one over here, which was just a removal because they converted to gas, but to get a price for a new oil tank. And it's gonna be about $120,000 before to remove. It's 109, the proposal he had was for like $109,000 for a new 8,000 gallon oil tank installed. But it didn't include the removal, which that one was $14,000 or $15,000. So you're talking about $120,000 or so. So I had talked to Christine about it, we've been kind of texting and emailing and talking, and I said, do you mind if I bring it up? Because they're gonna be here, I guess, next Tuesday. I said, do you mind if I bring it up? Because I'll end up having to manage the thing anyhow. She goes, no, you can alert them, but, and we need to alert. We know, we're not gonna wait 6 months to say, oh, by the way, I mean, we found out Friday, here we are, it's Wednesday, we're letting you know that. I thought of possibly making it part of the project. The mechanical engineer said he didn't think that would be a good idea because You got mechanical guys coming in to do the boilers and such, and they really aren't excavators or any of that. He said, you're probably better off to keep it separate. So, you know, we'd have to put a proposal together
Now, the,
next calendar year. So it's gotta come out in 2019. It doesn't have to be this summer. We could do it this summer if you had the money, but, you know, I believe they
The
work
problem
on it.
is, where is it, Joe?
It's right in front of the, like, the entrance is here at the school.
Yeah.
The oil tank is like right where you would go in, like if you're going into the back of the cafeteria or the back.
Really?
By that brick, the loading.
The brick wall, the loading in that area somewhere.
So really, you prefer to do it in summer because it's gonna be really.
Well, we would have to do
disruptive
it in the
kids.
summer, whether
Yeah.
it's this summer or next summer.
Right.
Because we're at 18 this year, and from what I understand, it's gotta come out in 19.
Yeah.
They
So-
should do it as we upgrade the
I
boilers.
mean, it'd be nice to just make it one project. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be, because the boiler project, they're gonna tie into the existing oil lines, obviously. Roger was kinda half hoping that it really was 2024, or no, 2022, and he was kinda hoping that the gas line would be up there by then, and he wouldn't have to replace it, but
Right.
I can tell you that gas main isn't coming even by 2022.
the money that's approved for the project, I don't remember how much it was.
250,000.
That's all gonna be used on them, there's gonna be nothing left over in that.
Highly unlikely.
Honestly, it may not be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, you know, we're a little concerned, we wanna just make sure that you know that we're gonna do this project, but here down the road, whether we do it this summer or next summer.
So if we do it summer of 19, that's the next fiscal year. If we do it this year, summer, it's this fiscal year.
Well, depending on when you do it, yeah, if you did it before June, it would be,
Oh, you probably.
oh, it would still be
That's
19.
something you're gonna put.
No, it would be this fiscal year, if it's June 19, it's this fiscal year. If it's after July 19, it's next fiscal year.
Yeah, we could probably do the schools out, so yeah, for June. But whatever.
Especially now.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But we were working on the closeout of the roof, so that's a positive.
Working on the closeout of the modulars, that's a real positive
Yeah.
after,
They're coming back this summer to
seems like 20 years.
redo everything that they did last year. And then we're hoping by the end of the summer, we can start the closeout procedure on that and get that closed and our retainage that the state's still holding back. And they got $500,000 to do a bunch of stuff.
I saw that.
And the building commission's working with them, with a few of them, but some of it's just small carpets, bleachers.
Yeah, little stuff.
Little stuff that.
It's just carpets and bleachers and stuff, just to do it. Get your prices like you need to, but don't,
Yep.
you don't need oversight.
I was just wondering if maybe some of those alliance projects could possibly help fund
No.
no?
Alliance money is given to them for specific, they cannot spend out of that specific, and then they actually have to turn the receipts in, and it has to match up with what they asked for. They cannot vary it all without re-asking.
But what I was saying was, well, we earmarked, I think there's like $50,000 in
Yes.
CIP that we earmarked for projects that are now going to be funded under Alliance.
Oh,
So
So if CIP gets approved,
right.
that
and
would be.
I get what you're
there might be a little money
$50,000
in there, so you may only have
there
to cover half.
that we might be able to play with and may have to.
All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can't go because you're gonna shut that off. Sure. All right,
Well,
debt,
Let's pull the plug.
debt service.
Yeah. Just pull
Hey, don't pull the
Just
plug.
pull them both to be safe.
Debt service is
All right, Bob.
Debt service is really quick.
Yeah. debt service.
Thank you, good night.
Thank you.
Good morning, Joe.
Hey, no problem. I'll probably be right here.
Have a fun night.
To do the bonding for the roofing.
Yep.
That is the
Hey, wait a minute,
there.
you're the IT guy.
Yeah, see ya.
And then revenues.
So already I see one thing that maybe, I've got something that came through. You all have this in your revenue section. That's tab 8. Any of the state.
Nope.
This is the only one that I've done.
Okay, I've gotten the latest update from CIP, I mean, CCM. You want me to make copies right quick?
Yeah.
Road money?
All right, let me organize this. I did that already.
Too many papers. Too many different papers with too many different numbers. I gave up.
There we go. Well, while she's taking copies, so now that we've gone over what we've gone over tonight, and we'll finish with revenues, take it home, think about it. When we begin our next workshop, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yep,
Thank you.
At 7.
right back at it.
Yeah. We'll start by discussing any changes you think you want to make to the stuff that we've already gone over, because it is getting a little late tonight. So we'll do that before we start sitting down with people, starting with the new stuff. Unless there's anything you want to talk to tonight before we, okay.
I'm a little nervous because they really haven't started talking about revenues this year. And as you notice, they're quite a bit higher than they were last year. If you remember, at the time we approved the budget, we were going under the governor's recommendations. And after it went and got finalized, it was higher than what we were thinking it would be. So there's a little bit of structure difference. I can see right now the, okay, you've got adult ed. I think this is a small, do you want me to make the changes according to this now?
Go ahead.
Okay.
And then we can, yeah.
15,288. Smaller. Your ECS grant
It's the same, right?
is actually a little bit higher than what I did. Oh, you know what? I decreased, if you see the formula up there. I started with the 15, or I took, this amount is for Alliance. I believe that they take out of that and they give directly to the schools. So we have to decrease
Oh, yeah,
what the
okay.
ECS
No, I know what you mean.
is.
Yeah.
Did I take 45,000? I think we should, I don't know if that was just,
Do you want to check it and you can
Yeah, I'll
update it
check
tomorrow?
that and we'll
Yep,
update
just
it.
take it as a take
yeah.
away.
So Connecticut fines is what we've gotten historically. So I left that alone. Tax relief for the elderly is now an unfunded mandate, so we're not expecting that, and we're not going to be getting that this year.
No.
We're supposed to be getting those other two.
We're still getting tar.
Yep, we're getting tar. We've gotten half of it so far this year. Pequot is supposed to be reduced 15,432. This is the latest on that. Pilot, 57,819. applications is what we've historically gotten, and we budgeted that at 19.4 this year. It came in this year at 15,000, so I reduced the revenue projection to 15,000, because that's what we've gotten this year.
Now the mill rate's 1.99.
Yeah, where's LoSiP? Where's LoSiP come in? Does it come in as revenue?
We have been advised that
Not to put it in.
not to even put it in, because that, the state has to go for bonding on that. And if they don't go for bonding and get money, then our auditors advised us a couple of years ago not to even put that in.
Just check on that, educational cost sharing.
I will look at that.
Take it as a takeaway.
So already they took a little whack. Already they took a little whack.
Yep. Yes, they did.
I think that's not the last one either.
Good, Timmy. All right, anything on the revenues?
Just the other thing, I did go up interest on investments based on the, interest rates projected to go up a little bit and where we are this year. Parks and Rec did reduce theirs a little bit just because the revenues are down this year. They're not sure they're gonna be making their projection. Treasurer revenue is mostly miscellaneous revenue, which we just got some in. We were trending really below. I didn't think we were gonna get that. And we've had just a couple things come in. Recycling and public works, they ended up going up. That's your bid specs, your, what else is in there? Bid specs.
Our recycling for our,
Recycling for.
the computers, the
Right.
recycle thing, and bids is a lot, because we've been doing all the stuff in-house.
Driveway permits.
And driveway permits, we've been having people pull more driveway permits than just saying, it's okay.
Police department was trending that way, so we increased it. Town clerk revenues were trending up. So I talked to Joanne and she was comfortable with that. Building, we went up 50,000. Now, keep in mind, the casino, that could be 3 million, but you can't budget it, obviously, so. And I did not put any transfer from fund balance in this year, so that's at 0 at this point.
That will change.
Yeah. So. All right,
All right.
that's it in a nutshell.
All right, any questions, comments before we adjourn? Anything you want to do before we adjourn, or you want to just kind of look it over, take in what everybody said, and start our meeting with making some changes tomorrow?
I'm surprised you guys didn't already get on putting the police thing back where it was supposed to be.
Well, I figure we're just gonna wait for them to come, but it's what's gonna happen. I mean, that was just ridiculous anyways. That was a pointless maneuver.
I mean, I feel strongly about reinstating the part-time fire department firefighter for Roderick. Public safety, I think that's a necessity personally.
Definitely. Definitely that can be made.
Okay, so I move to reinstate the part-time salary of the firefighter for Broadbrook Fire Department.
I'll second.
Okay. So we have first and second. Still second. Any
Do
discussion?
you have to put a number to
Yeah, I think
that?
we gotta put a number.
Yes, let's
So
see.
the line item would go to 110,000.
110 would be the.
You want to bring the line back to $110,000?
Yes. Do I have to repeat myself? Do you want me to? I don't do Okay.
We're going to approve the bottom line anyway, so. All right, so any discussion about that? I mean,
That's the 22,500, 30,
32.
500.
32.
No, I agree that that's important.
I don't have a problem with that. I think it's wise. I think it's our public safety. One thing I just want us to always keep in the back of our mind, we added that, so we're gonna have to find that somewhere else, because we're already way too high. I mean, I guess maybe that's what we should do before we leave tonight, since we're gonna look over all our stuff and really take in what everybody said, is kind of where we all kind of feel, I mean, I heard what everybody wanted tonight, and I fully understand everybody's opinion and what was important to them. And I think education and I think our public safety is extremely important. I also know the general feel of our town. And to be honest, where it sits right now is just too high. That's just too high for anybody, I think. That's my opinion though. That might not be what you guys are thinking. I think that we have to make sure that we're taking care of our town, we're taking care of our children, we're taking care of our safety. But we also have to be really, really on top of that number. That's a hefty number right now. And especially after what we just did with the mill rate. Now, I bet if you go down, bring us back down to the mill rate now that we had that fire, you didn't
It's
have
1.99 now.
Yeah, can you do it real quick and then bring us down to the mill rate?
Yeah, I'm gonna just do it here, because I see
Yep.
that looking at the Board of Selectmen.
Yep, that's fine. So now we're 2.03. So that's not gonna fly. So just remember, there are things that are important and we have to keep that in mind. Then we are really gonna have to find the things that
Right.
just may have to wait. That's my opinion anyways, and I just, so.
I think our job is definitely to fund public safety, education, infrastructure, all the like necessities. And then we just kind of have to go through and just see what's a luxury and not really, needed. I mean, you hate to cut from anything, but I think the main focus is, public safety is really important. If someone if there's a fire and you don't have a firefighter, I think that's a huge concern.
Kathy?
I did over. I
Okay,
would
that
choose
was-
questions to
Mr. Zimmerman. What are you thinking?
I think that our first one out is gonna be high, but I think we need to put a budget out that reflects where we probably needed to be over the last couple of years. I don't think last year we went almost right to 2% right at the beginning, but I really truly believe that we need to get a budget that's reasonable, whether it's whatever it is, I don't know yet, until we've gone through this one time. But if it comes out at 3% increase, and it's really realistically we can't keep doing 2% because, like I said at our last meeting on Monday, just contractual changes and stuff like that, we're already over 2%. So there's not a lot of room to do things we really need to do. So I think we are being called a throwaway, but I think the people of this town really need to see what really needs to happen, and then they had a chance to vote on it. If they didn't vote on it, then I'm sorry. If you lost your whatever you lost, you lost. That's my opinion the first time out.
And I echo that, that's always been my opinion first time out. You have to give the residents a chance to vote on what we need.
I think I agree with both of you. I think exactly.
It's actually always been my point of view too. The first one, and actually the second one, should be responsible and reasonable in what we think that, is actually needed. And, it's hard not to be jaded and cynical about the whole process because we know where it always goes. But, I was tallying the people that were speaking, and, there was, most of the people, everybody spoke for the Board of Education budget, but I don't think they ever actually bring in the numbers when it's time to vote. And that's a problem for all of us.
For sure. No question there. It doesn't happen.
But I also think though, and I agree that the part-time firefighter is a need, not a want, but I think that we need to come up with, if you want to put in 40, you got to find a place to take out 40. And because the 6.26 is, it's absolutely not going to fly. If we can get it close to 3, it's still not going to fly probably, but I think that's probably
But it's realistic.
Yeah.
So now that we discussed your motion and made it even bigger.
Oh, well, it's all right, it's right, I'm gonna vote on the motion.
So, but we were talking about where we're gonna end, and that was a lot of big part of her firefighter. So right now, all those in favor of reinstating the firefighter line for Broadbrook Fire Department, part-time to 110?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yeah. All right, anything else before we adjourn? Off the top of your head that you're thinking
Well,
about right now?
there's some of these that are required no thought, such as, and so instead of spending time on tomorrow to
Yeah.
vote on them, let's just, I'll make a motion to approve Public Works at $897,680.
Can we do green like we did last time?
Sure.
Thank you. How about last time? Is there a second?
I second it.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now remember too, we can go back as we find that we need to, so.
Now, do you guys want to look at the whole Broadbrook fire? Did you change that one? Do you want to?
Well, my only, and I'll just say while we're here, because, like I said, I know we got a lot next time, and we also have an awful lot on the 3rd.
Yeah.
The only, Broadbrook Fire, there's a lot of things in there is reasonable. My only, I questioned on the fireman's physicals. They requested, unless the physicals all come in late, I don't know, but they're only 2,500. They requested, we put in for 65 last year, they want to go to 14. That's my only place I'm looking there really at this point, whether there'll be a little bit of a savings there or not. He didn't really answer my question. I probably should have pushed a little harder, say, would 10 work, but I don't know.
What I'll try and do is run where you are now. I'll
Okay.
run you a general fund
Oh,
budget.
this is as a
so
1.8.
you can where you are now, not that, like,
Okay.
every expense is expended evenly
Yeah.
over the year, but at least that would give you a little bit of
Okay.
idea
Um,
where they are.
For now, that was my only thing I was gonna look at on the fire department. If we could, save a little bit there, that would be
It'd
something.
be helpful towards your other number.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, I'm not sure that they're really on track to spend their whole 77.5 this year on that.
Yeah.
It could be because they had the two over in
Overseas.
Afghanistan, so there were
Yeah.
two of them, so that could be contributing to that, but
And they have.
We could,
All right, so we'll bring us that tomorrow
Yeah.
so that we can look at that line and just, does
so
that
that's,
sound like fun?
yeah, that's fine. So that's, and, I guess looking at town property, for now, I don't think there's a lot we can do if we're under obligation on the hydrants, which is the big increase in that. At this point, I'll move that we approve town property at $1,040,697.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion clearly passes.
I'm gonna move that we approve,
Mike, you'll catch up.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm there.
All right,
I'm gonna move we approve road improvements for $450,000.
is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll keep looking.
For discussion?
I'm not taking it down, if that's what you're thinking of doing.
Okay, well, we're not, can we have a second for discussion?
Yes. Yeah, I'll
Carrie
second it.
seconded.
Okay, seconded for discussion. All right, now let's discuss. You're not taking it down?
No, I think we're,
What's in CIP?
it's undetermined at this point.
Yeah, but what did they have set aside?
We asked for $500,000, I think they knocked it down to 300.
So you have three, at this point in time.
I believe it's that. I'm not on CIP anymore, but I think that's what it was.
Pavement management, 350. Chip sealing, 75.
It's 425.
Well, chip sealing, LoSiP covers chip sealing even this year. That's why they put chip sealing in CIP, is because it's an in and out with LoSiP.
Yeah.
So,
And so far, it looks like we got loads of money.
Yeah, so far.
So far.
So far, so good. So, any other discussion? And we're all just kind of,
I don't get a vote.
well, you still get to input.
Are you sure? I just think that locking this one up this early is a little premature. As much as I like flat roads and everything,
No.
South Water, when you guys did that, it was
But-
great, but
But just, and if I can speak, it's not just roads. It's the tree removal, it's the guardrails, that's our maintenance money. It's not all about paving.
Sure.
We've probably, right now, probably spent almost 20,000 in taking trees down. And there's probably another 10,000 that needs to still be done. But it's everything. If you all noticed, we've got more broken guardrails. So it's all of that. It's not just roads. You know.
And to mention,
Parking
we have
lots.
every year, there was that study done that said that you would need to spend $1 million per year on the roads just to maintain.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect
world.
we need
And we're
a
looking at
million
like
more in our schools in a perfect world too. I mean,
Exactly.
everybody needs a million
But
more.
I
I need a
mean,
million
it's
more.
drainage, it's catch basins,
Yeah.
I could use $1 million. I do agree with Alan, I just think it's a little too early on this one, but it doesn't. I don't get a vote.
But we could revisit it.
You could revisit
We
it.
could revisit
You
it
could.
if you want.
You could. Anybody else? Alright. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
I lost track. Are you the only aye?
I'm
Yeah.
Okay, motion fails.
It's too soon. So you still have to hold your weight, Joe.
Were we gonna
Oh.
review the registrars, or is that tomorrow to join?
No, we could do it. That's a simple one, really.
Okay.
What's that one?
Registrars.
They didn't ask for anything, did they?
4115. They asked for just a little bit more in media cards and part-time salary.
1.5.
And that might have to do with,
Is it not?
is it a,
What is next election cycle? Not this November, but the November after.
that's presidential.
Yeah, so,
Don't we have government, the
Yeah,
governor?
just- yeah.
Gubernatorial this year.
Gubernatorial.
so she's gonna need that.
Do we move to approve this?
Yeah, if you want.
I'll move we approve registrar for 63,925.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes. Right. Anything else you want to get off the table, or we can? I think building's gonna take a lot longer than we have
Oh,
this
yeah,
evening.
no, we're not touching that. Good.
So, just saying.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Oh, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
For anyone opposed to adjourn.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Or is it cold?
I'm actually comfortable.
You might
I'm
have,
not cold, I'm
you
not
get to
hot.
ask her to call me tomorrow.
Usually
I have to write that number
freezing
down
in
someplace
here.
else. This is